These are some frequently asked questions about California legislative constitutional amendments. So first, what is a constitutional amendment? The Legislative Council of California defines a constitutional amendment as a resolution proposing a change to the California Constitution. It may be presented by the legislature or by initiative, and it's adopted upon voter approval at a statewide election. How does the legislature utilize a constitutional amendment? In order for the legislature to place a constitutional amendment on the ballot, it requires a two-thirds vote of each house, but not action by the governor. What legislative session is designated? At the top of each constitutional amendment, the following language appears: California Legislature, for example, 2019-2020 regular session. The only two items that change would be the two-year legislative session, and if there's an extraordinary session, also called a special session, rather than a regular session, will be noted. Who assigns the constitutional amendment number? It follows the words Assembly Constitutional Amendment or Senate Constitutional Amendment, and the Assembly Chief Clerk or the Secretary of the Senate assigns the constitutional amendment their particular number for each amendment that's introduced in the respective House of origin, and it's usually done in the order in which it was received by the Assembly or Senate desk. This number remains the same throughout the legislative process, even when the measure is considered in the second house. Who's the author, as well as the principal co-authors and general co-authors? In the California legislature, the author is the legislator who authors the constitutional amendment. The first line always lists the main author who introduced the constitutional amendment, but below that first line lists a principal co-author or co-authors, and the next line lists general co-authors. The first line is used for the House of Origin co-authors, and another line below it is used for co-authors from the other house. What dates are included in the constitutional amendment? The date introduced as well as amended dates, with the House making the amendment listed as well, so the Senate or the Assembly and the actual date of the amendment. What is the constitutional amendment title? It's a short phrase, usually something along the lines of a resolution to propose to the people of the state of California an amendment to the Constitution of the state by amending, for example, Section 2 of Article 11, relating to redistricting or whatever the topic is. What is contained in the Legislative Council's digest? It begins with the constitutional amendment number, the phrase as introduced or as amended, the constitutional amendment's lead author, and a short phrase regarding the subject matter of the constitutional amendment. Thereafter, the Council Digest contains a statement of existing constitutional provisions, followed by an explanation of what this particular constitutional amendment proposes to do to change the Constitution. What are the digest keys in a constitutional amendment? They are four keys: vote, appropriation, fiscal committee, and local program. And finally, what's included in the text of the constitutional amendment? The actual language of the constitutional amendment would amend, add, or repeal sections of the state constitution. Similar to bills, constitutional amendments are divided into sections. Before the actual constitutional amendment text begins, the following phrase is used. It says, resolved by the Senate for an SCA or resolved by the Assembly for an ACA, the Assembly concurring that the legislature of the state of California at its designated regular session like 2019-2020, commencing on the third day of December 2018. Two-thirds of the membership of each house concurring hereby proposes to the people of the state of California that the Constitution of the state be amended as follows. And so this is the anatomy of a constitutional, a California legislature constitutional amendment.